We're live. This is Tio and the Arcane Bear. I hope you guys have had a wonderful week. Yeah, it's the week now still. Going into the weekend. I hope you have a wonderful weekend before it happens. This nice little B wave in Bitcoin is representing the portion of the ABC corrective, and now we get to find out if we have an ABCDE or just simply an ABC corrective wave. It's always nice. We were looking for the bounce, played it a little bit, not really concerned. It's always funny, I think, to see the excitement. Just for example, people are like, oh, everything, Bitcoin Cash is up 120%, or B Cash is up 120%, but it's down at its from its high from $4,000. So it's the math doesn't work out quite the same when you look at it from all-time highs to relationships from where it is from the bottom. So please do keep that in mind. These bounces are nice to see, though. As soon as Bitcoin moved up, the entire ecosystem perches and kind of holds itself up as well. Really interesting to see the relationship between Bitcoin, then followed by the rest of the altcoins. It's a very, I think, enjoyable experience nonetheless. I know there's a lot of people in the Arcane Bear Telegram channel, in the links you can join down below, that are playing with leverage trading. Now, obviously, none of this is financial advice, so I don't suggest, and I don't also not do suggest that you do any of that. But it is fun to watch and play in the waves. Now, for those of you that were wondering, and or maybe new to the channel, I bought my original Bitcoins around $90. Haven't touched those. All I've been playing with was profits. I need to build a business, so businesses actually. This is a bright, fun, exciting thing. I chatted with the business manager for the ginger tonic company that I manage in Costa Rica. We are now officially in six stores in Costa Rica and should hopefully be in 12 by the first quarter of 2019, which is great. That's one of my favorite companies that we've built. It's delicious. It's healthy for you. It's made from all natural ingredients in Costa Rica. It has a bomb label, and it's much better than this ginger beer. So my ginger tonic, as far as I can tell, tastes like 20 times better. But I'm biased. Everyone whose baby has a baby, they think their baby's 20 times cuter. Hopefully you guys can come to Costa Rica one day, enjoy yourselves, and try it out yourselves. The other business that we wanted to build and kind of show you guys and take you along the process of having multiple streams of revenue was in the search engine optimization world. For those of you that remember, we bought and built a website in the film niche. It's currently ranking in the top 10 for such crazy keywords as best video camera, best 4K video camera. So what I'm going to do over the next month or two is, as we go to hit past revenue profit areas with that website, show you how we can flip it for around 6 figures. So that'll be about 6 months and 6 figures, probably something like this. So I'll make a little more in-depth, detailed video about that. But anyways, this is just the weekly update into the Bitcoin and crypto world. So let's dive into that. Hopefully we gave something like everyone enough time to show up in the stream here. We've been following this beautifully defined channel here in Bitcoin for the last week now. I think the sentiments are pretty noticeable. Everyone's been like, oh, we're in a bull run again. This could be it. We're going to the moon. All that type of communication, all that language to me is the sentiments of an irrational exuberance again. We've had a downtrend for quite some time. We expected a B wave. I actually thought the B wave would go higher. It still might. Probably it could go up to somewhere as 5,200 if you were to consider that this might be the wave 1 of that B wave. Now, for those of you that are new to this type of wording, the Fibonacci retracement and extension, as well as your Elliott wave theory, is huge. I don't do a lot of on-channel trading, mostly because I look for entry and exit points on investments. I do day trading or swing trading when I feel like playing in the waters more so, not as a day money maker for me. Although if you're good at it, you can do really well. I just don't like spending all the time staring at the screen, looking at the numbers. But I've made we've been able to pull off some fantastic trades from the shorts up here and this nice little move here. Anyways, not investment advice in any way, shape, or form, but what I want to do is just share with you some of my thoughts here. I'm not necessarily sure that this B wave is going to go that high, as we did see a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pattern here. So let's take out the Elliott wave formation so I can show you guys what that looked like. Obviously, you had a nice little 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wave here. Now that could actually just become the wave 1 of the wave B. So essentially what we're looking at is something like this, to give it a little more clear. So this is likely an A, B, C, D, E corrective wave, just because we have such a complex group of individuals in this space. I suspect from A to B, right, to C, something like this. I mean, we've said many times before that the next area of support was around 2,500, but there's definitely a large area of volume profile support around the $1,000 area too. So if this were the A, B, C corrective wave, you were to have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Elliott wave here too. It'd be 1, 2, like this, 2, 3, 4, 5 for the B wave. So I suspect that you could see, you still could see runs up to 5,200, although considering how beautiful this channel was, right, let's zoom in here a little more, how beautiful this channel was here, and the very, very pronounced 1, 3, and 5 wave. I'm not, this may have been the B wave itself. There's just so much downward selling momentum. Everyone wants to argue that, oh, there's all this big institutional money going in and the stock market is crashing. And by the way, that's absolutely true. I'm just going to open it up here. The S&P 500 has broken its all-time lows from last year. This is a very, very bearish signal. This is telling the whole world that the stock market is starting to collapse. But Bitcoin's not a hedge against the stock market. Bitcoin's always been a hedge against the failing dollar. And it's very easy to roughly assume that maybe 1 to 2% of the entire world's population know what Bitcoin is, let alone own or are willing to buy any of it. Likely where they're going to move is into fiat, misunderstanding that Bitcoin, again, is the medicine for the problem in the fiat, which is the debt-ridden money that we have. Hundreds of trillions of dollars in debt the entire globe is, and we don't even know who the it is we owe it to. So I don't necessarily think, I mean, we have seen a corollary response, but correlation is not always causation, right? We were expecting a B wave in Bitcoin's retracement to begin with. So the fact that the stock market is crashing as Bitcoin and these other digital alternative assets, currencies are going up, doesn't necessarily mean that they're intrinsically related. What it does mean is we were expecting that bounce off the 200-day moving average, and we are expecting a bounce of somewhere between 52 to 5,100 on the B wave retracement on our way further down. So I think people get really excited about this type of stuff, and you should be super excited. Like if you're day trading right now, you're in leverage trades, the volatility in this is so much fun. Like you're just like, woo, it's a ride. It's like a roller coaster ride. And if you know how to ride that roller coaster, you're having a good time. But I think the sentiment here is obviously very difficult to kind of work through the murky waters, just because there's so much going on. All right, so as soon as Bitcoin started to go up, so did everything else. Raven jumped up 12%. Bcash went up 120%. That was just insane, by the way. Although even I thought to myself, I should probably buy some Bcash at $80 because that's low. That's as cheap as Dash, and the liquid supply of Bcash in comparison with Dash is lower. So if you go to, let's go to CoinMarketCap here. You've got Bcash at, where's the liquid circulating supply? 17 million tokens. Whereas you got Dash here around 8 million. Wow, Dash actually only has 8 million tokens. So I'm going to shove some cotton in my mouth because what I was going to say didn't make any sense. So excuse me, I retract that statement. But here you have a very similar type of forked chain off the initial Bitcoin blockchain, representing what they think their true value of decentralized currency are and the best way to operate those companies. So it's nice to see green in the markets again. I think that's what's got everyone excited. Tron obviously it did really well. They're one of the tokens we've been watching very closely, along with Cardano. Same with Raven Coin. So I've been keeping my eyes on all these. I'm not ready to play the retracement value. I think that the initial sentiments of the markets going lower is going to likely bring the prices of Bitcoin down lower too. I do not believe that this is a corollary response. I believe that Bitcoin was going to do that anyways, even if the stock market it didn't even exist. Although that would be a wild and fantastic belief to have in one's mind. It's just where are we going here? Back to coin market cap. There we go. So I think the important thing here is just to keep a cool and level head while you're making any moves. Obviously, because none of this is trader investment advice, anytime I feel that irrational behavior to either sell and or buy, I wait. Because you don't want to make emotional decisions in anywhere in business. And I've been known to make horrible emotional decisions in life. So I practice best at some of this stuff in business because I'm not as emotionally connected to things. It's usually in people that I make large mistakes because I'm more emotionally invested in the people themselves. So with business, it's become a little easier to just kind of wait and watch from the sidelines. Even if Bitcoin goes up and it keeps going, it's like, well, great, okay, cool, well, we can accumulate more. It's not a huge difference. I mean, from 3,000 to 4,000 is a 12% difference. Anyways, the point of this story is taking a more relaxed approach to a lot of this stuff in the end pays off. I do still suspect that we're going to go lower. The initial targets that we had on the next wave down were around 2,800 to 2,500 on the volume profile support. Again, I've been chatting with a really good friend of mine in the background about what we thought would happen if the stock market started to crash, and what that might look like. So this may have very well been the B wave, and if that was a B wave, which it usually does extend a little higher, so I would like to think that Bitcoin's going to go to 5,200, although I'm not betting on that by any means. No bets are on the table currently for me right now. I'm just watching and being patient. My initial assets I'm not touching. Like I said, I manage multiple businesses, so I'm trying to keep everything in check. I think that's the best way to move through life. Even in a great economic recession, I still have a private well, I still have my solar panels, and I still have 2 acres of food that I grow in the jungle. I ain't that worried. That's, people always ask me, it's like, well, why are you laughing? Everything's going down. It's like, well, because I don't really care. If anyone wanted to know, I don't really care. My main investments here are learning how to have a better interpersonal relationships and develop communications. This extra money or revenue is something that I actually enjoy doing it. I don't do it for the money. I do it because I like the hustle. This is the same reason why when I want to day trade or make a swing trade, I do it because I like it. It's not because I need or want the money. I do it because I enjoy doing it. And I think when you find that sentiment and whatever it is you're doing, it makes everything a hell of a lot more pleasurable. So I do hope that whatever it is, to find out what that is and then pursue those goals in life, because you never know what day or time it comes that you end up leaving this beautiful azure of a rocky planet. So anyways, that's my little quick rundown of the Bitcoin thoughts. Again, this run up to 4,200, that was expected. We did say that in our other previous videos. Filling out that $4,200 to $3,100 volume profile. Again, if we zoom out on the 1 day, we've said this stuff multiple times. It's just, again, people seem to like to choose what it is they want to hear, and that's totally understandable. I do the same thing. I'm like, so what you're saying is... So what you're saying, right? No, anyway, that's not what I said at all. Anyways, the point of this is, let's take a look at the volume profile one more time here. It's starting to see this. I wanted to see this area fill, and it is. It's starting to fill up. This little gap between 26 and 3,300 started to fill up because of this lower area that we had hit. But we still have a big gap. We've got a lot of support around 2,500. So 2,500 is likely where we find the next bounce. At a very high side, you could see 5,200. Seems more and more unlikely just because of the pronounced direction of that channel. There wasn't a super pronounced third or fifth wave, and even that fifth wave is struggling to keep itself up. Anyways, point of this is stay happy, focused, bring as much responsibility and purpose into your life as possible. It's extremely rewarding. I know survival for a lot of people is going to be the first thing on their mind, especially as we go into a stock market crash. And that's one of the things that kind of is kicking me back and forth in this thought process is the amount of people that are going to be having troubles with survival. Doesn't mean there's going to be a lot of people running to new assets. And you got to remember that's where the world normally sits. The majority of the world doesn't sit in the privilege to be able to find value in new spaces. Even if institutional money is going to move in, if the world goes into an economic crisis, people are going to be running for shelter and survival, which doesn't necessarily bode well for the blockchain ecosystem, because Bitcoin was never a hedge for the stock market. It's a hedge against the failing US dollar. And because of the sheer ridiculousness of the misunderstanding and miseducation of people, it doesn't seem like they're going to be running to a new money. They're likely going to run back to fiat and make the same mistakes they had in the past, not realizing that they are still terminally ill in that particular asset class. Anyways, I want to take a few of your guys' questions, a few of your thoughts. Again, please do note that this is just my opinion. The only reason I like to do this kind of stuff is because, well, first off, I love ranting. But secondarily, myself on the internet, I like to aggregate as much content as possible. I listen to scientists, a bunch of them, so I can come to my own critical conclusion. I don't want to ask them to find out what it is they think I should think. I like to use that information to come to my own better understanding of myself and the world around me. Anyways, let's deal with the Arcane Bear. Give us those thumbs up if you like this content. Frankie says, brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. I'm just going to zoom in here and take a few of your guys' thoughts. So if you have them, please decide to start writing them now. It's a really good way to go. Dan Best says, when correction? We've been in the correction since January last year. So still? I gave a like on Twitter and wrote to him too. I hope, nice to safety. Yeah, we've been trying. We got Tone Vase on this Sunday, ladies and gentlemen. We've got Trace Mayer coming on in the New Year's, and we've been reaching out to a few more people to have them on the podcast. I even messaged Brian Armstrong from Coinbase today. I'm just throwing darts at the wall and seeing what sticks. So hopefully we can get some other great speakers on to communicate with us. We will also have Tyler Jenks back on in the future to show us more of those hyperwaves. Again, if you want to see something similar to that, just look at uranium, or gold is currently in the process, silver. There are many other commodity assets, stocks, bonds, all of these that have undergone that hyperwave process. It looks very similar. You can chart it out yourself. I do also agree with some of the sentiments that they are very similar to the regular Elliott wave types of theories. So it's not entirely... Nothing is new under the sun. Let's just go with that sentiment. It's about being able to identify those things and articulate it to the people that need to understand it or want to hear it. Zezo says, where can we find the volume profile indicator that you're using? It's great. I love it as well. You can find that by upgrading your tradingview.com profile. If you go down to the Telegram channel, the links below, and go through the Arcane Bear Telegram channel, I do believe we have an affiliate link that gives you a 10% discount. I'm not entirely sure. The Arcane Bear community has been so kind to help set that stuff up, so please join the Telegram channel. They will point you in the right direction, but if you don't want to, just upgrade your TradingView channel to Pro. It gives you access to a few more fun indicators, live chats, publishing capabilities for all of your charts, and all that fun stuff as well. So let's take a look at more of these ideas here. It says, where do you see the price on the 24th of January? That's a super random date to pick. Let me just check my crystal bottle here. Probably on its way down again. I still think that we might see a third and a fifth wave come off of this inside B wave retracement here in the corrective wave. So again, for those of you that don't know any of this stuff, I have a few videos on it that you can download. Go to Investopedia 20 waves. Markets action is followed by then a reaction. Great videos here explaining it too. 5 waves in more direction, the main trend followed by the 3 corrective waves. The 5 to 3 move completes the cycle with the ABC corrective downwards. So let's have a look at this. The underlying 5-3 pattern remains constant, but through the time span each may then vary. So here you go. Let's look at the label of this chart here. Pretty simple to see. Theory's popularity. In the 1970s, this wave principally gained popularity through the work of A.J. Frost and Robert Prechter. They published the legendary book on the Elliott Wave entitled Elliott Wave Principle, Key to Stock Market Profits. So there's tons of evidence to read and to research about this type of stuff. You can look at the series of wave categories. Here you have grand supercycles, cycles, primaries, intermediates, minors, minutes, sub-minutes. So it gets very in-depth because inside each of these this is a fractal pattern version, right? Again, the 1, the 3, the 5. 1 plus 1 is 2 is 3 plus 2 is 5. It follows actually the Fibonacci sequence for the first few numbers before it retraces. So this is where the fractal mathematics are coming from. Anyways, the point of this story, you can use this stuff in more than just stocks. You can use it in a bunch of other parts to life. So I do like researching this because it's almost what I'll call intrinsic mathematics. So jump in here, take a look at some of this. I don't know what this. Anyways, Investopedia has all this information for free, guys. Do your homework. There are other great books, but Investopedia has a crap ton of it. We have some of those videos in our crypto crash courses about how to use the Bollinger Bands, the Ichimoku Cloud, Elliott Waves. Again, this is more for the day trader or the savvy investor who's looking for good entry points, not just hoping and praying on a whim that this is the bull market. Anyways, let's do 1 or 2 more questions because no one's rang the doorbell saying the food's going to be here yet. Do you think LTC will ever be 1/4 of Bitcoin? I'm not entirely sure. I don't know why we would just come up with an arbitrary number of like 1/4 of Bitcoin. You can't really relate these to any other assets. Someone's asking, I'm assuming here, about backed on 24th. I have no idea. They've postponed and changed that stuff all the times. Who knows what that's going to be. Again, I don't think it makes a huge difference in terms of the market. Again, last year China banned cryptocurrency and we'd have a slight drop, and then we kept going up and up and up and up, and we went up for another 2.5-3 months. So news is not really the best indicator for what's going to happen in the market. We could have great news, but if the rest of the world is in turmoil, it doesn't seem to really make any bit of a difference. Let's take a look at the last few questions here, ladies and gentlemen. Give us those thumbs up if you enjoy this content. Like, subscribe, do all that crazy stuff. ArcaneBear.com/shop. Buy some clothing. Represent the bear. What do you think about the new Biden part by that? I'm not sure what law you're talking about. Hopefully they stop taxing people for it because it's not a commodity. It's a money. People are using it as a money. Don't tax it as a commodity, you assholes. Crypto courses, yep, there we go. You can find that in Telegram channel and in the YouTube channel as well. What's the odds, the percentage that we just hit bottom? I don't think that was the bottom. It would be too easy. You don't just have one down wave and say, yeah, that was the bottom. Okay, here, I'll give an example. Let's go back and do some history research here for Bitcoin, because that's always a fun little gambit to run. Well, Bitcoin's down 39.88. The fifth wave here is losing steam. It couldn't break through that massive layer of support we had right around 4,000 on the volume profile. And yeah, it's just dipping below there. So anyways, it's probably time to call it a show. If anyone wants to do this would be one of those moments, especially look at this. You have this trend line here. I would be very, very interested to watch what this trend line does, because if you break below that on volume, man, no, you'll see that this is that was not the bottom. Maybe in the next 48 hours. So no, I don't think that was the bottom. Again, if I want to do just a little bit of quick history research here, let's go back to the 1 day and zoom out like this. Let's see how long this bear market was back from 2013. This is not. I'm not going to be able to see it here. USDT. Does that give me enough data? BTC to USD. Maybe this one will do it. Yes, okay. So I remember this period here. I remember buying Bitcoin around $90 down, way back here. Jesus, I should have bought, like, I should have sold my house and everything. But I love my plants more than I love Bitcoin. Anyways, who would have thought? So comes to this thought right here. We have this massive run up. I'm like, whoa, this is amazing, and then drops back down. And then look, oh, you're basically saying, okay, let's zoom in here and look at this a little closer. Okay, you're like, here we go, right? So now it's starting to look a little bit more like what just happened. So let's pretend that this was the $6,000 range, right around here, and we're like, yeah, we came down, we hit the $6,000, and boom, and we hit the bottom. It's like we just let's see here. We just had a B wave, basically. You can't even really see it in here. It would be too small to see. Something like this. Actually, that would probably be a bit more equivalent. I should, you know what? I'll try to do this next episode because I didn't put enough time into thinking about what I'm about to say here. Basically, what we'll want to do is grab our Fibonacci extension or retracements, drag these up, play, and then make copies of these in terms of relationship to the moves that we're just having, and that'll give me a much clearer picture. But no, I don't think that was the bottom. I suspect that we just had like this type of B wave right here, where we hit here and we bounce back up, and then we're probably going to come down. But that's just conjecture. Hey, don't make bets off what people say on the internet. Gather as much data as you humanly possibly can and make your own decisions from there. I do suspect, but I do hope that what we see after we hit the bottom around the whatever area, even $2,500 to $800 area, that it just goes like this again. That would be amazing. That would be great. Yeah, so we'll keep that in mind, that there's a lot of future still ahead of us here. And it could start to look very, very much like this as we go. But I don't suspect that little short bit was just it. It just doesn't make sense. The rest of the markets are in turmoil. Most people don't know what Bitcoin is. It's just too many other like sentimental factors that don't make sense yet. But anyways, it's Tio with the Arcane Bear. Thank you guys so much for joining us. I really appreciate all the support. And my Sharma's here. We'll see you in the